Hello and welcome to Midday Report on TVP World. I'm Marie Cato. The foreign affairs ministers of the NB8 group are meeting with their counterparts from France, Germany and Poland for multilateral discussions on the Danish island of Bornholm. Our reporter Zuzanna Jurek is on site and has this report.
On Tuesday, the Danish island of Bornholm is hosting multilateral meetings between the foreign ministers of NB8 plus Weimar Republic format. That is, the 5 Nordic countries and 3 Baltic countries are joined by Germany, Poland and France for multilateral discussions, primarily focusing on some of the key security priorities for the region. That is, although we don't know all the details about the discussions which will be taking place today, we can expect that Ukraine will be on top of the agenda. That is grounded primarily in the fact that in recent months, during a similar format meetings, most recently in March, defense ministers of the NB8 countries have met to discuss ways of bolstering Ukraine's support and defenses. Namely, Norway has made a significant pledge to raise its aid packages to Ukraine to 7.8 billion euros in 2025 alone, whereas Denmark has committed to bolstering the air defenses of the country. Additionally, Estonia and Finland have committed to provide Ukraine with additional armaments and ammunitions, including shells, which are all expected to play a significant contribution in supporting the ongoing efforts of the war-torn country. For TVP World, Zuzanna Jurek.
Leaders from Central and Eastern Europe have arrived in Warsaw for the ThreeCs Initiative Summit. The format launched by President Duda years ago brings together officials from countries between the Baltic, Adriatic and Black Seas. Ceasefire has more.
A ThreeCs initiative, to some of its critics, it's something that hasn't quite delivered that ambition that was set out 10 years ago on the joint initiative of both the Polish president and the former president of Croatia. But also here at the ThreeCs Business Forum, that side event to the ThreeCs event here in Warsaw, speaking to different policymakers, speaking to those in attendance, including from different countries across the Central and Eastern European region, there have been notes of progress. Now, if we're looking at some of those projects, for instance, the LNG gas terminal in Croatia on the island of Kirk, if we're looking at the Via Carpatia or the Via Baltica project. Now, some of these elements have indeed gotten money from the ThreeCs fund, some of them also inclusive of European funding. So in a way, it's a sort of a hybrid combination of funding and initiative. Now, there are different views on the progress of this project. Is it a success or not? Well, time will tell. But we spoke to various presidents here at the panel of 10 different presidents at the ThreeCs Forum in Warsaw and heard and asked that question and put that question to them, what they think of ThreeCs for their countries. Let's take a listen.
I think that one of the most important things is the energy connectivity. The fact that we were able to use the ThreeCs initiative to disconnect from the Russian-Belarusian electricity grid to make sure that we are fully independent when it comes to gas supplies. That's probably the greatest achievement. Another one, I hope, is going to be transportation.
And what about the future for ThreeCs? We have new countries joining. Is that a good sign? What's that future?
That shows that there is an interest. This is expanding, but it's very important that we are not losing also the focus.
We got a lot of resources from this initiative. Not everyone did get, but it's a procurement. We have been lucky. But it's not the case of money. It's basically still connections, relations, and so forth. So we are looking forward to this initiative to develop, because it is important, and to encourage maybe also Finland and maybe also Norway to take part of this initiative, and we got ThreeCs initiative rather than ThreeCs.
Now, whether there is still a lack of tangibles, ultimately it has proven that some of these countries are now more interconnected. If we're looking at digitization, if we're looking at infrastructure, that's come out more. Now, also a report here released that every euro, and this was stated yesterday by General Daly here from the United States, that every euro invested in this region on infrastructure in the CE 3Cs region has a 4-fold return on investment. There's still a lot more to do, trying to build up and closing that also dual-use technology corridor. Now, for its critics, it's fallen short, and for those who support it, it still has more to achieve. And time will tell which is correct. This is Ceasefire from Warsaw, the ThreeCs Business Forum.
Russia has said it's still waiting for Ukraine's response to its offer of direct peace talks and a proposed ceasefire in May. As Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov claims, Russia is ready for bilateral negotiations and that it has extended numerous invitations for talks but has received no reply from Kyiv as yet. Moscow had also proposed a 3-day pause in fighting starting on May 8th to mark the 80th anniversary of victory over Nazi Germany. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky questioned the offer, instead calling for a full 30-day ceasefire starting immediately. The Ukrainian head of state added, quote, "We value people's lives and not parades." The European Commission says there is no need for Russia to wait until May 8th for a ceasefire with Ukraine. Instead, Moscow could stop the killing and bombing at any time. The comments come hot on the heels of Vladimir Putin suggesting once again another multi-day truce with Kyiv. We are now joined live by our EU correspondent Angela Skujins from Brussels. Good afternoon, Angela. Is the Commission taking Putin's proposal seriously?
Yes, so all signs point to no. However, we haven't heard a direct yes or no response to the question that I asked at a midday briefing press conference in the Belgian capital today. It comes, as you said, on the heels of that Russian President Vladimir Putin announcing that 3-day ceasefire in May, coinciding with Victory Day. This is that 80-year anniversary of when the Nazi Germans capitulated to the Red Army. But many see this as a mass propagandist opportunity for Moscow to exhibit its alleged military might. So let's take a listen to what the Commission had to say in regards to this pitch from Putin.
Our position on this is very clear. Russia could stop the killing and the bombing at any time. So there's absolutely no need to wait until the 8th of May. They could do it right now, just today. And as we know, Russia has a track record as an aggressor, so we first need to see and judge Russia by its deeds. In the meantime, Ukraine has accepted since now more than 1 month an unconditional ceasefire. So from our side, we continue to support Ukraine for a long, just and comprehensive peace.
Yes, so as we just heard, and in the previous report, this pitch has been met with widespread condemnation from Ukraine. We know that the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has described this proposal as manipulation. We also heard him suggesting a 1-month ceasefire instead. But we'll have to wait and see what comes of that 3-day ceasefire. Also, which European leader expects to attend that Victory Day parade, and whether this pitch is all smoke and no mirrors. Thank you. That's Angela Skujins from Brussels for TVP World.
Many thanks. Angela Skujins coming live to us from Brussels. 8 civilians, including a child, were killed in overnight Russian strikes across Ukraine. The attacks come despite talk from Vladimir Putin about a unilateral ceasefire. Drone strikes and bombings hit cities and towns across Ukraine overnight, damaging apartment buildings, houses and businesses, and killing and wounding civilians. In the Dnipropetrovsk region, a 12-year-old was killed and 5 others were wounded. 5 people were killed in the Donetsk region, with additional fatalities reported in Sumy and Chernihiv. Ukraine's air forces said it shot down 37 of the 100 drones launched by Russia in the latest wave of attacks. Volodymyr Zelensky says that Ukraine has targeted Russian agent networks and saboteurs. The Ukrainian leader also added that he's received reports about the elimination of senior figures in the Russian army.
The head of the Foreign Intelligence Service reported on the elimination of individuals from the senior command of the Russian armed forces. Justice inevitably comes. The head of the Security Service of Ukraine reported on our continued efforts to counter Russian agent networks and saboteurs within Ukraine. Good results. Thank you for your work. We are also working on Ukraine's next sanctions steps. Today I was presented with materials substantiating the need for the relevant decisions. Relevant submissions to the National Security and Defense Council are being prepared.
By this morning, power has been restored mostly across the Iberian Peninsula after a huge blackout brought the majority of Spain and Portugal to a standstill on Monday. The outage grounded planes, halted public transport and forced hospitals in Spain and Portugal to suspend routine operations. Power was restored in Basque Country, Barcelona and parts of Madrid. According to the Spanish national grid operator, about 61% of electricity supply was restored by Monday evening. The Spanish Interior Ministry declared a national emergency, deploying some 30,000 troops as government officials convened emergency cabinet meetings. According to the Spanish Prime Minister, the country suffered a loss of 15 gigawatts of power in 5 seconds, which is equivalent to 60% of the national demand. Power is also slowly returning in Portugal, with the local grid operator saying that 85 out of 89 power substations have been brought back online. Authorities in Spain and Portugal still haven't confirmed the cause for a blackout that spread chaos across the Iberian Peninsula on Monday. Our correspondent Alex Cadier in Brussels has been trying to get answers from the European Union. Good afternoon, Alex. What do the authorities in Brussels know so far?
Well, not much, to be frank. They have said that we can rule out a cyber attack. That was the response from the European Commission just a few moments ago. But when I pressed them to give us more answers about what exactly happened, why it happened, could it happen again? Well, the preparedness spokesperson gave an answer that basically asked for more time. Let's have a listen to what they said.
It has not been even 24 hours after the beginning of the blackout, so now the most important thing is to get the situation back to normal. In the meantime, you can speculate about the cause, and then we can also help with the investigation and with the exchange of the information and with anything what would be necessary.
You can speculate about the cause was one of the answers from the European Commission. I pressed them further, saying, what is the Commission doing to make sure that this never happens again, not just in Spain or Portugal, but anywhere in the European Union? We had a response from Paula Pino, the chief spokesperson of the European Commission. Let's have a listen to what she says.
It was of unprecedented magnitude, so obviously we will be looking into the lessons learned, and we have fora to do this. As you may know, we are working very closely, not just with the national transmission system operators, but also with the European transmission system operator, NSOE, and we look very closely into what were the reasons, how well were we prepared, and what are the lessons that can be drawn from such an incident. And this will definitely keep all these actors busy in the coming days and weeks.
So the European Commission doesn't know what caused this. Neither apparently does the Spanish government or the Portuguese governments. The Portuguese energy agency initially saying that it was a rare atmospheric event. That was denied by the Spanish Energy Agency. And even though the Spanish government and the European Commission in that briefing just a couple hours ago say it wasn't a cyber attack, the Spanish High Court is now saying it will investigate whether or not the cause of the blackout was a cyber attack. We have seen chaos in Spain and Portugal, people trapped in lift, trains grinding to a halt on the tracks, traffic lights not working, hospitals having to use generators. And for now, the answer from the Spanish, Portuguese and European authorities is give us more time. We're not exactly sure what the cause was, and even ruling out a cyber attack, a Spanish court saying it will investigate whether or not a cyber attack was the cause, chaos by the blackout, and for now, chaos in the response as well.
Alex Cadier coming to us live from Brussels. We most certainly await further answers. Poland is set to launch a pilot program testing a shorter working week without pay cuts. Poland's Minister of Family, Labour and Social Policy, Agnieszka Dziemianowicz-Bąk, has announced. The scheme, which will be the first of its kind in Central and Eastern Europe, is set to begin after the summer and will allow private and state-run companies of different sizes and sectors to test a gamut of models of shortened weekly working time. The minister noted that 107 years after the introduction of an 8-hour working day, it's time to rethink working patterns, especially amid the development of modern technology, higher productivity and digitization. The official went on to say that examples from other countries show that shorter weekly working hours lead to a 10% boost in teamwork quality and better work-life balance for 35% of employees. According to Eurostat data, Poles are the second longest working nation in the EU, with the average of 40.5 hours worked every week. And that brings us to the end of Midday Report here on TVP World. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.